the whole history with the Chargers and the Chiefs, right? Once you left Kansas City, okay, you could kind of tell that story a little bit about your journey, kind of from the Chiefs to the Chargers, that transition, how it felt. Because you got out there, you start playing for Marty. So Marty was, once you got out there and start playing for him, I'm sure Marty was like, yo, hey, absolutely. I want to get Donnie Edwards out here. I need to have a guy like that. And man, when I'm telling you, Marty, I always wanted to play for Marty. When I was coming out in 90, same year, I took a visit out to Kansas City. So Kansas City was one of the ones on the list. So they took Reggie Tongue. Me and Reggie Tongue was on the on the visit together. But me and Marty, every time we saw each other, I was like, Marty, I always wanted to play for you. He said, Jason, man, I always wanted you to play for me. You was my type of guy. I just always appreciated it and stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about your journey from the Chiefs to the Chargers, your relationship kind of with that whole thing with Marty and whatnot.
Yeah, so back in 1996, I got drafted, right? So people don't know, but in 1995, I broke my back. So All-American 94, already graduated from college, UCLA, and ended up going to graduate school and still playing on my last year because I was soaking wet about 218 pounds. So, and this is after creatine and working out and protein mix and trying to eat as much as I can. It's just, I'm 200 pounds right now. So it's always been tough for me to keep that weight on, right? So, I got drafted. And I went in the fourth round because I broke my back my senior year, and no one wanted to touch someone that broke their back. Missed the whole entire year. First game I played in after I broke my back, I think, I played in the last USC game, but was a Senior Bowl. That was the first game that I played. But at the time, I didn't lift one weight at all or anything like that at all. And and it was my opportunity to show my talents to everybody on that level for sure. And and it was great. I was a defensive MVP for that game, defensive player MVP for that, Senior Bowl game, so kind of gave me some confidence, like after coming from that major injury, right? And then ended up going to the fourth round, and the Chiefs traded up for me, so I came there in 1996, and at that time, it doesn't matter if you got drafted in the first round or the sixth round, like you weren't starting. Rookies didn't play. You had to earn your spot. Quarterback can be drafted in the first round and you still won't play. You got to earn your spot. That's the way it was back then. It's changed now, but look, I mean, it was amazing. I had a great group of guys around me. You got to understand, we had Salamua. You guys remember Dan? Come on, Chiefs fans. Dan Salamua. Dan Salamua. Dan Salamua. Neil Smith, Derek Thomas. I can go down the list right now. James Hasty, Dale Carter. We had an incredible defense, and this was something that, as a young player, and then our class, Reggie Tongue, Jerome Woods, Joe Horn. We had a crew there. Yeah. So it was great. We had a good team. The Chiefs were just coming from a playoff win. The year before, came close. So, look, we're close. It was great. And the nice thing about it, I was able to connect with all these guys and learn from them and to be a professional. I was there with the Chiefs for 6 years to start off. The first time I was there for 6 years. And back in 1997, come on, Chiefs fans, 1997 went 13-3. Elvis Gerbach he broke his collarbone, I believe, third week of the season. Rich Gannon came in. I think we won 10 or 12 games straight. And defensively, we didn't give up a second half touchdown for over 10 games. We were just rolling that year.
Wow.
What's that? Yeah, we were just rolling. Yeah, we were rolling that year. 1997, we played the Denver Broncos 3 times that year, and it was a close game. And you got to understand, that's when they had Terrell Davis, John Elway. They had McCaffrey. They had the whole squad. They had Shannon Sharp. They were scoring 50 points a game. They were just rolling. Had that zone blocking scheme. Everybody runs sideways and he runs right downhill. And we battled. We split during the season and we played them in the playoffs. And unfortunately, we lost. I was 13-10 or something like that. It was a close game. Blah blah blah. So that was the big. That was really big. And then, next year, we had a little drawback. Marty ended up leaving. And we got Gunther Cunningham back in 1999. Was great. He kind of was already there already. And we went 9-7 that year. We should have. did better, but nonetheless, it didn't happen. And then there was another coaching change. We ended up getting um, uh,
Vermeil.
yeah, Dick Vermeil.
Yeah.
Yep, Dick Vermeil.
Yeah.
I think that was in 2001. It was right. So I played 1 year
Was.
under Dick Vermeil. So in the 6 years, I had 3 different head coaches. Right. So three. Remember, I told you guys 3 different head coaches. So then you have a whole new scheme, new coordinators, like all this different stuff. It changes the language. It's kind of challenging, and that's something that you don't want as a player. You want consistency. You want the same defense, the same coach, and the same. So that's when you start to learn more, and you can be true a player, because now all of a sudden you go into a new situation trying to learn, and that uncertainty will get you beat. It'll get you beat on the field, but collectively it'll get you beat too. I mean, I know, like when we had Greg Robinson there, I mean, his defense was so confusing and so complicated, especially when the offense was like, doing shifts and motions. I mean, we were all over the place. It was way too much, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. So, look, those are the challenges you have. But all in all, man, we found a way to win. When I was with the Chiefs, we found a way to win. And, Kansas City was my home. I mean, they took me in when I was 23 years old. I mean, this is my home away from home. Everybody knows I'm born and raised here in San Diego, but Kansas City is my second home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got engaged with my wife. I mean, it's just like there's so much. That was my foundation. And, I tell you, back in 2001, I didn't want to leave. I was playing well. Everything was going well. We got a new coach with Dickie V coming through. Offense is gelling. I mean, things are going, but then there's only so much money to go around, and they had to make some changes. They want to put more money on offense and things. I mean, look, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on, and I don't get involved in that stuff. I don't worry about that stuff. I worry about what I do on the field. Just turn the tape on, and I'm always coming from the place of don't talk about it, be about it, right? So you got questions, just watch the film. You want to see it? That's what it is. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to show you. And that's what it was. And unfortunately, I got let go, and then I was out there, and luckily, one of my former coaches, Marty Schottenheimer, came to San Diego first year with a lot of the same coaches. I talked about Greg Minuski. Greg Minuski was my linebacker coach, which is pretty amazing, right? And then you had, remember Redman? We had Redman out there. We had a lot of Kansas City flavor out there. Vander, what's his name?
The returner.
The returner. Come on.
I just lost it.
Vanover.
Vanover.
Yeah.
Vanover. Yup, he was out there. We had him in Kansas City. I mean, there was a lot of Kansas City blood out there, which is great. So we kind of brought that environment, that atmosphere that Marty created in Kansas City, and we brought it over to the Chargers. I mean, it was very similar. I mean, training camps were like, it was a ball buster. I'm telling you, double pads. Marty Schottenheimer. Even Dick Vermeil too. Like all in Gunther Cunningham, all the coaches I had. I mean, you're looking at 2.5-hour practices, full pads. Yeah, for all you young players right now. Yeah, full pads. That means everything. I mean, we used to do like a fullback linebacker drill, an inside drill, like a lead.
Yes.
I mean, that was an actual like drill, like running full speed into each other. We did Oklahoma drill. I mean, it's crazy looking back, but but to be honest, I mean, I think it's good because it kind of like brings this bond together that we have, right? Because we were in those training camps together. We know how tired we was, but you know what? It doesn't matter about the individual. It matters about us collectively, right? You talk about that team. It's about us. And you know what? Hey guys, let's push through it. Let's work hard. Let's get through it. You know what I mean? And that's where that the essence of that team is, right? That's what we get from that hard work and that doubt that we have. But someone grabs you by the side, come on, Jason, let's go. We got this. Okay, cool. We can do this, right? And that goes into life as well. And I'm really glad that I had that in my life. I mean, with Marty, he brought that there. I mean, it was great. But, he brought that same mentality out there to the Chargers. And we did well there because, like, how he is, he's just, straightforward. And it was a good run. And then we had another, coaching change and things like that. But at the end of the day, man, it was fun. I mean, for me to have an opportunity to go back to San Diego, after I got let go from the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2002, to come to San Diego and to play where I grew up. I mean, I'm born and raised right on the beach, right out here, and to have an opportunity, to play with Junior Seau, some of the guys that, Rodney Harrison, and Doug Flutie, some of the guys that, I grew up watching. to be able to play there in front of my friends and family was just a dream come true. And I just really grateful for that opportunity. And, really had a great time. And, and I'll tell you, most people don't know this, but, I'm gonna give a little shout out to Mr. Lamar Hunt. I mean, you talk about one of the best owners in football. After I left, I got goosebumps right now, guys. I got goosebumps right now because I'm telling this story. I wasn't sure coming back to Kansas City. We played you guys later in the year, back in 2002, the first year, and the first game of the season, you guys came out to San Diego, and we won at the end. I ended up getting an interception to seal the game at the end of the game on a Hail Mary pass down in the back end zone by the tunnel that we came out, and we won that game. And then we're coming in November out there against Trent Green and the crew back in November. And it was my first time coming back in Arrowhead, right? And of course, being a former player of the team and coming back, I mean, I'm in the conference and I know what happened the last time we played, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, man, I'll never, ever forget this is the quality of the Chiefs fans, right? They understand about what you were talking about earlier about how hard we work, right? And what it's about, but there's things that are out of our control, right? There's things that are out of control. I never wanted to leave Kansas City, you know what I mean? But Kansas City left me. Right. The Chiefs left me. Right.
Yeah.
But coming back and having that warm welcome, because I remember talking about it, like, hey, we want to have the defense run out. We want the offense run out. And I was like, oh, man, I know how it rolls when you're in another state. I like to play for the team, and they switched it up and they had the defense run out there. And I'll never forget the welcome that I received from the Chief fans, the welcome back home. And that just really solidified for me that, what, this is my second home. And it's just like, there's some, I mean, I'll never forget that. And then after, we ended up winning the game. Another interception to seal the game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, really? Another interception to seal the game about the 30-yard line at the end of the game. And, really excited. Going back in the locker room, I was in the shower getting ready. And one of the trainers come out and said, hey, man, you got to get out of the shower. Someone wants to talk to you. I'm like, who? And he said, just get out the shower. Someone wants to talk to you. And I go over there, and it's the owner in the visitors' locker room. It's the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, Lamar Hunt. Saying thank you, and thank you for being a Chief, and great game. I mean, like this, an owner doesn't do that, right? Yeah. Coming to the visitor locker room, and that's just like there's something about it, right? Having that warm welcome, in Arrowhead Stadium, and then having Lamar Hunt, the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, has been around forever. I mean, to come there and to say, hello, it just really solidified my love, for KC. It was awesome. I mean, that just goes part to the organization that, the Chiefs have out there. And I'm just really happy to be part of that organization, and to be a Chief.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it's, just speaking about Lamar, I mean, that was his character. He's such a gentleman. He knew a lot about who the players were. Come down, shake your hand, look at you in the eye, ask about your families. And I remember that. I remember when I came from Philadelphia and I got over to Kansas City, and he would ask like, hey, how's your mom doing and your brother's sister? And I'm just like, okay, because it was completely different than when I've been up in Philly. Completely different. You just didn't have people, up in, we would call from the upper room coming down to the lower room talking to guys.
Right.
And I remember him just kind of walking around the locker room, and he would go to each one and give them time, just saying hello, shaking their hand. And I mean, he was just, when I'm talking about the gratitude of saying thank you, I'm like, shoot, thank you. You're the one that's employing us.
Give me an opportunity.
Here. Absolutely. Yeah. And so what he did is he created that environment that fostered, that cohesiveness, that relationship. And so you knew that. And I was saying the same thing like you were talking about, like the fans. The fans, I don't know if you knew this or not. You probably knew this before I got out there. But I didn't know anything about the best buns contest. You remember that?
I should go get it. I have it in my office right now. I have a little plaque that they gave me.
Yeah, okay. I want it twice. Okay, so the ladies up there like, yeah, Jason. I came and get the little. Oh man, I was so thankful for it, right? Because you sitting there thinking like these older ladies are sitting back and checking out the Chiefs tushies, right? It was crazy, but that was kind of like where it was so personable with the fans. They were just right there. Nobody was nasty with you. And like I said, I came from Philly. Philly, man, the fans, oh my goodness. Oh, you were, the worst. And I tell people this all the time. when I got to Kansas City and I heard the media, it felt like I was around some kittens. I was like, where's all the controversy? I just didn't really have it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it's much different, but it always stems from the top, right? So Lamar
Mhm.
Hunt was the top of he was the top, and he set that environment, he set that atmosphere for the city of Kansas City to be connected with the Chiefs. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
like, it starts there. I mean, his, humility, right, just
Mhm.
kind of trickles down to everybody, and that's what it is, and that's what was so special. I mean,
Yeah.
there was nothing like it for sure. I mean, it was, yeah.
Man, I thank you for saying that. Just kind of talking about Marty taking, like you said, some of that atmosphere out there as well, from like what it was pretty much kind of the culture of the Chiefs, and kind of molded it with whatever the Chargers were, right? And you said he brought a lot of guys out there, which I'm sure helped out a ton, right? Because y'all guys knew what it was about. You already knew, like, hey, this is what Marty expects. This is how we're going to kind of do things, and so that makes that transition that much smoother. So let me ask you about this. You were just talking about consistency with the coaches, right? And how that really matters with a team. The Chiefs right now are very consistent with their coaches. They got a very incredible staff, obviously, with Andy Reid, Spagnuolo. You just name it. From the top to the bottom, there's a lot of consistency there. And so just kind of talk about how important that is, how imperative to have a guy that knows about keeping the culture the same, doing it the same way. And we see the results of it, right? I mean, it's just people can talk and say whatever they want to say. They may not like it or whatnot, but the results speak for itself. It really does. So kind of touch on that part a bit as far as like this consistency with coaches, how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, it's very important, right? The atmosphere. I mean, just like it's always great, like when you go to like a local restaurant and you know the people there, right? Everybody knows each other. They know how to work with each other. The staff stays the same, what I mean? Like having that environment makes you feel comfortable, right? And that what makes you excel and grow as a team. It's the same thing inside a building, right? It's the same thing on a football team. Like having the consistency of the coaches and like the core players there, right? Because that sets the atmosphere in the locker room, right? And
Right.
I mean, and it's been some years where we didn't have that because they let too many of of the the veterans, the guys that were there before who understood what it took in order to be a pro, they let them go, and it was overrun by a bunch of young players who didn't understand what it's like here in Kansas City, right? Or other organizations. So that's important. And this is like a small thing that people don't really understand. You know what I mean? It's like, it's about that environment, it's about that culture, it's about that cohesionness that you have. But you got to have buy-in, right? You got to have buy-in from the coaches, buy-in from the leaders to make sure that they coach up the younger players, right? You want to
Right.
always, you always want to coach up the younger players so they understand, like, coming here, I understand this culture here, right? And every team is different. Every team is different. But you come here, this is how we're getting it done, right? This is
Yeah.
how we're getting it done. If you don't want to if you don't want to do what we're doing here, go somewhere else. But you know how it is. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's so important.
Well, you see that, like I always talk about, having a veteran presence. And of course, you get young talent all day, right? Talent don't necessarily rule out and say it's going to be the best. It's always usually how do you utilize that talent. So it does take, I always said this, the older guys to teach the young guys how to do it. What to do, how you carry yourself, how to be a pro. Hey, young fella, like, listen, this is not what we do. We don't go stay out late. When we talk about studying, there's some things that we need to do. A couple of years ago, and I'm just kind of speak about this a little bit, but I had gotten some grumblings that there was a group that was kind of fighting that whole culture about wanting to do extra work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a reason that group was struggling a little bit, and you could see it on the field. And so they didn't quite buy in yet because, like you were saying, these guys came from different places, very talented, but somehow it just didn't really transpire into being a good group in itself. And so I think it took Andy Reid to say, listen, this is what's going to happen. Either you guys are going to come here and start working after practice, putting in some extra film time and all these different things, or it's real simple. Y'all not going to be here, right? And so, yeah, bye-bye. And guess what happens? Not only just before they say bye-bye, they'll say, come sit beside me. We'll let somebody else that understands what to do, who might not be as talented, let him get in there and go play. Now, he might not catch 10 balls, but he'll give me 4 solid ones or 5. And I know he'll go and block, the safety in the corner. He'll go do all the other things what we're asking him to do. Okay. So he ain't coming in with the all flashy stuff and, thinking about getting on TikTok and showing you. No, this ain't what it's about. It's about winning. You buy in. Okay. And that equates to wins. And so you've seen that. It does take veteran players to make sure the young players understand what their culture is. And I think Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, you got Nick Bolton, Chris Jones, and those guys that understand what it means, to become a champion. And so when any young guy comes in, the first thing I'm going to do is you go talk to Chris. You go talk to Travis. You go talk to Patrick. You go talk to those guys. And then at that point, they're the ones that's going to get you in line. So,
hopefully. I mean, that's the plan, right? That's the plan. Because, if you think about it, especially guys coming in, young guys coming in, they're a big man on campus at, said university, LSU, Georgia, wherever, right? They have their own culture there, right? And you may be a god, you may be don't have to practice and come in late, things like that. I mean, this is what they're accustomed to. This is like their culture at their place, right? But that doesn't translate to when you come here. So I tell the guys yeah, you're first round, you're good. You're the God's gift to your college. I got news for you. We all were, you're coming to a whole different league now. We were all good in college, right? Just so that we were right there in college with you. You know what I mean? But now you're coming into a different environment. Either you have to buy in, but you got to have buy-in from the coaches as well. You got to make sure, because the players in locker room, we kind of lead it, right? Especially that leadership and get guys going, things like that. But if you don't have a buy-in from a first round draft pick that is individual, wants to do his own deal and wants to stream on TikTok, whatever, you know what I mean, and not really study, that's going to be a problem. Especially with me, it's going to be a problem, you know what I mean? But you have to have buy-in from the coaches as well, because, you can't do it. I mean, you can do so much on the field, but you got to make sure that you have support from them too, that they can get this player moving in the right direction, so we can all roll together, right? I don't need you sitting in the back, on your phone, I need you rolling. Let's go. I need you rolling with all of us. Let's go. The NFL is short. People don't realize the NFL is short. I mean, all the years I played, Jason, you don't even know. I never won a playoff game. Never won a playoff game. Think about that. Not one time. Close many times, but never won a playoff game. And Tony Gonzalez, because we played a lot together. He won. I think he didn't win one in Kansas City. I think he won one in Atlanta, right? His first game in Atlanta. Yeah. And we were talking about that. I was talking about neither one of us have won a playoff game. So people don't realize that. You can have all these great teams go 14-2, 13-3, all this different stuff, and don't make it. And looking back at my career now, it's damn, and I'm around a lot of guys who they always want to show their ring, right? Always want to show their ring, and and I just wish that we would have just pushed a little bit more, understand the severity of it and the time, really, right? Because the NFL, not for long, it's short. You got to maximize your time because there's a lot of variables in there, right? You can have a new head coach come in and say, I want to put some emphasis on offense and let go of some different players. Or you have injury. There's a whole bunch of things that can happen, right? So take advantage of the time that you have right now and put everything into it. You can do whatever you want after the season. But right now, guys, I need you. We need each other. Let's go. Let's put our energy together and let's just give 100% and see what happens. And then after, we can do what the heck we want to do. You know what I mean? But right now, let's all commit and give our time and effort to it. All those other things are going to be out there. All that other stuff's going to be out there. Trust me, it's going to be even bigger once you have that Super Bowl ring on your finger.
Man, and I think also, too, because guys do dedicate themselves. But we got to realize there's 31 other teams thinking the exact same thing. That's why it's so hard, right? Like to get to that level of success that the Chiefs has been able to, to achieve year after year. I don't understand how rare that is. Like you said, didn't win a playoff game. And we tried, we worked our asses off. We did. We worked our butts off to try to get there. And it could have been the 2 days. It could have been all these different things. I remember Dick Vermeil, the year we was 13-3, which I think we should have won it. Probably should have won it that year. And I remember I went up to Dick because we were still doing full practices, full pads.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 15, 16 week of the season. Yeah, bye weeks, everything. Hey, we got to buy. We're 13-3. We got to buy. I don't care. Full pads. Full pads.
Oh, dude. And listen, I remember, I think it was T. Rich. It's like, yo, T. Rich is like, hey, man, JD, this stuff right here got to cease. He said, Dick Mills losing his mind. He's crazy. So, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, maybe I could go up here. He bend his ear a little bit. So I go up to, coach's office. I'm like, hey, JD, come on in here. I say, Coach, how you doing? JD, you doing all right? I said, I'm doing well. I said, Coach, listen, I just want to say this, some grumblings as far as for guys that you just got your foot on our backs, necks. Is there a way you can kind of take off them guys? And he just does this little different mid laugh, like, he said, JD, you about the 10th guy that came in the room that said that.
Yeah.
So everybody's saying the same thing, but he had a philosophy that, look, we're going to practice tough because I want you to be a tough team. You're going to be tough in December and January. That's what we're looking for. And so what we're going to do, we're going to out-tough the competition, and that's how we're going to win. And so, man, I think, man, that year, oh my gosh, that ring eluded us. But we knew we were probably the best team in the NFL. We shouldn't have lost. It was the no punt game that we had.
I was there. Believe it or not, I was there. I mean, I was at that game. I was actually a sideline reporter for the NFL Network, and I was at that game against the Colts.
Yeah,
right? Against the Colts. Yes. Paid man. I think the score was like 51-50 or 49-50. I mean, it was like no defense whatsoever. And I was like, there you go. Hey, I mean, yeah, it was a crazy game, but you guys were like rolling. You guys are rolling. But you know what? I mean, you guys, man, you guys were offensively, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But it was like that dedication, like you were just talking about, man. And 32 teams are vying for the same thing, right? The only thing that matters is that Lombardi trying to get there. And everybody's putting in their work, they're putting in their time, and a lot of teams do buy in. So it's always kind of a question when you look at certain guys, like, is this guy really buying in to what's going on? And you can kind of see it. Look, we know if a guy's buying in or not, okay? We hear, obviously the voices that's going around the league about, hey, this dude right here doesn't quite work hard. It is. And so I don't hear that with the Chiefs. Let me put it that way. I never hear that coming out of that building about guys not working, other than that one time I told you about that group. And so they had to rectify that situation, and they got hit. Believe me, it got handled real quick. So, matter of fact, they went off and won the championship that year when they did it. And sometimes you got to right the ship, brother. You got to right the ship.
Well, they certainly did for sure. And there's definitely a culture going on in that locker room for the last few years. I mean, it is, you don't go into that locker room, especially a new guy, and don't buy in, because you're going to buy you a pass out quickly because this is what we do, and it's proven. I just wish that we had a Mahomes when I was playing. Man, oh man.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.